Hey, how are you doing? Let's draw something really cute today. In this beginner video tutorial, we will be drawing two types of cactuses, two types of real cuteness. I have my canvas set to 3500 pixels by 3500 pixels, and I would like to start out with a sketch. And I would like to do that with the sketch it brush from my illustration brush set, but of course you can also use the HB pencil or whatever sketching brush you prefer. I have also made a color palette so that you can use the exact same colors I'm using, but of course you can also go for your own color palette. Now, first I'd like to sketch out the pot in which the cactus sits, lives, I don't know. Got a nice little pot. And for the cactus shape, you can go for lots of different shapes. There are so many cactuses. There's so much variation. But I'll go for a simple shape. And this sketch will be used for both cuteness styles. I'm making a bit of a rounded pot. Yeah, I think this is nice. We just need a base to start with for our cactus in a pot. All right, so this will be our sketch. I'll just call it sketch and let me duplicate it so that I have one version for our first cute cactus and one for our second one. So let me make a new layer and I'll place it beneath the sketch. And this is where I'll start dropping in colors. First, let me grab the smooth lines brush, but you could also, if you don't have the illustration brush set, you can grab the monoline brush. And I'll use this pink color, that fourth color in the color palette. And let me also just lower the opacity of the sketch a little bit. And let's follow the shape of that pot. I'm going to make the brush a little bit bigger. I'll go to 40%. And I'm gonna turn my canvas, trying to make smooth lines. And you can just tap with two fingers to undo until you have, well, the line that you want. And if you don't have a very steady hand, then it might take some tries, but that's okay. Now let me fill this. And now I would like to make an outline. And I'm going to do that on a separate layer. I'll make a new layer on top. And I would like to make a purple outline. First, let me check the thickness. I'm going to make it a bit thinner. Let's go for 20%. And I'm going to make an outline. Trying to make smooth lines again. Can be challenging. Let me see. Might take a couple of tries if you don't have a very steady hand. Takes me some tries as well. There, and now I would also like to make a line here. I could just use the auto shape here and go to edit shape to adjust it a little bit. Now let's also make the lines for the cactus itself. So again, I'll try to make fluid lines. Yeah, I think that's a bit too wobbly. Perhaps I should not do it in one go. Stop here, yeah. And close it there. And I will remove a part of that line work. Try to make that tidy. Oops. Yeah. All right, now we can fill the other shapes. Let's set this line layer, let me call it line. Let's set that to reference. And now we can make a layer below that and fill it with color. And it'll use those lines as a reference. First I'll add some earth color right there. And on a new layer above that one, I'll put the cactus color. That's that middle color there, like that. And now I'd like to add a bit more lines. I will turn down the opacity of the sketch a bit more. And I'll go back to that line layer. I don't need it to be reference anymore. And I'll go back to that purple and add some lines on that cactus. Again, trying to make smooth lines. Sometimes I need a couple of tries. I think these are a bit too wobbly. Like that. And let's also give our cactus a little face. I'm just going to do that face on a separate layer. That way I can easily adjust it. And if you swipe down with 3 fingers, you can copy and paste what's on this layer. So I can just make a second eye. And we can draw in a cute little mouth. I'll make the brush a tiny bit smaller, 30%. Let me just see, I want to make these a bit bigger. Yeah, like that. Now I can merge these layers to have those eyes and mouth on one layer. Now let's go back to the line layer and let's add some little details to that dirt. Make the brush smaller, maybe 10. Yeah, 10% is good. And just add some little wobblies to indicate some of that dirt. And now let's also add some spikes to that cactus. Just some random directions. Don't have to give it too much thought. I'm just going along all these lines in the cactus, the outside lines and the ones inside. Making some shorter ones and some longer ones. Oh, I think we can turn off that sketch layer right now. This is actually pretty relaxing to do. Just adding these little spikes. There. Now it's time to add some highlights and shadows to our cute little cactus. Let's start with the cactus itself. And we can do that on a separate layer and set that to clipping mask to clip that to that green layer. First, let's add some darker green. Let's make the brush a bit bigger. Let me see. Maybe 70%? Yeah. Oh, that's, no, sorry, too big. 50% then. Maybe still too big. That should work. And I'll go along these lines to add some shadow there. For this one as well, I'll go along the left side of that line. For this one as well. And now let's switch to that lighter color, this one right here. And now we will add some highlights like on that right side of the cactus. And that right side of this line. And this one. Now let's go to the dirt. We'll select that dirt layer, put one on top, and select clipping mask again. And I will select that dark dirt color, and we'll make a little oval here. And we can just use edit shape to work on it a little bit. Perhaps something like that. And make a little shadow here. So we are imagining that the light is coming from this direction. And now let's go to the pot. Again, we'll go to the pot layer. Use layer clipping mask. And let's grab this light pink color and add some highlights to our pot. First, I'd like to add some light to this edge here. And we'll add some light to this right side of the pot. And also some light on this edge here. Just make a stretched oval. Just want to adjust this one a little bit using the eraser. And we can add some of these dots to the pot to add a little bit of interest to that pot, so as if it has a little bit of texture. Or it's almost like it has some freckles. And now let's give him 2 rosy cheeks. I'll use the soft brush under airbrushing for that and use this pinkish tone. Let's see the size. Yeah, that's nice. I have the size set to around 3 or 4%. Opacity is at 30%. And let's give him some rosy cheeks by slowly building up that color. You can go a bit smaller, 2%. Like that. Now I feel like that pot is a little bit too straight. I don't like these lines too much. I want to adjust the shape just a little bit. So I'm going to the line layer now and use liquify. Let's just see if I can change it a little bit. I just want a more rounded shape. Of course, I can't push it too much. A bit like this. Now I just need to adjust some things. I need to go to that pot layer, grab the pot color, and use the smooth lines brush again. And the eraser to adjust this edge. And I need to adjust this side a bit. I need to add a little bit here. Oh, going over that edge. Yeah, I feel like it looks a bit cuter now. Oh, I missed the spot there. All right, now I want to, well, I still want to add a background color. So let me just make a new layer, put that underneath the others, and I'll select this bright blue. And I want to add a drop shadow. I'll do that on a layer above this background layer and use this lighter purple. And let's just make an oval here. And we can just use edit shape here to adjust it a little bit. I want to kind of have this line merge with that underside of the pot to make it look natural. There. You look so cute. Oh, we could also add just a tiny bit more interest to that cactus with that light green color and add a few dots here at the top. There's our first super cute cactus. Next, let's create our second cute cactus. And this one will be a bit in the style like Luna Llama, Galshir, bit of that cute style that they create in their images. So let's first group all these layers so we can turn everything off for our first cactus. Bye. There, we have our sketch again. So we have the same base sketch, but this time we'll make a different style and different colors. I'll start with this orange. And again, I'll just use the smooth lines to make that shape of the pot first. Still don't have a real steady hand. Feel like it's a bit out of balance. Let me turn down the sketch a little bit so I can see the lines better. Let's fill this shape. All right, now let's make a darker oval on top. Let me just pick this color and make a new layer on top of this pot. I'll use the quick shape tool and edit shape to move it around a bit. Like that. And now let's create that cactus shape. So again, on a new layer, and I'll use this middle green. I'm gonna do it again. And you don't have to worry about the edges at the bottom. Just close that shape. And what we can do now is you could select this oval, use select, and then click invert. And if you go to your, what's it called, eraser now. Oh, of course you do have to go to the cactus layer. If you use the eraser, you can erase that part right here. So it stands in the pot. Now we already have all we need to get started adding texture to our layers. Let's turn off that sketch. Let me just check that shape of the pot. Oh, there's a little spider showing up on my stage. Ooh, there it is. Oh, he has to go and walk somewhere else. Go, little spider. Oh, it's stuck on my hand. Go. Okay, it's gone. It's free. All right, what was I doing? Okay, I'm going back to that orange. I want to adjust the shape of the pot just a little bit. So I'll go back to that layer and I want to smooth things out a little bit. I think that's a bit better. All right, now let's get started adding texture. I'm going to start with that inside of the pot. And you could either use alpha lock or you can make a new layer on top and use clipping mask. That way, if you use clipping mask, you can always change things, remove things from your clip layer. And if you're using alpha lock, well, that's kind of like permanent. I am going to my texture brushes and I'll be using my grungy stone brush. I will add this brush to the post so you can use it as well. And I'll pick this very dark brown color. Let's check. I will set the size to 20% and add some shadow on that inside of the pot. And texture at the same time. And moving around some dust on my screen. Oh, I always hate seeing all that dust on my screen when I get to editing my videos. I don't know where all that dust is coming from. All right, now let's move to the pot. Oh, and at the same time, well, not at the same time, first I want to add a little background color just because it looks nice. So I'll make a layer underneath the pot and the cactus and fill it with this color right here. No, I actually want to make it a bit more yellowish. I like this better. I'm gonna switch it up. Take this out of the color palette. All right, now let's add texture to the pot. I will first go to this darker color, make a new layer on top of the pot and use clipping mask again. And let's add some darker texture to the left side of the pot because again, we will be assuming that the light is coming from this direction. And I'll grab that even darker brown and make the brush smaller, 10%. And I want to add a little edge underneath here. Maybe even smaller, 5%. I'm gonna go bigger again to around 20%. For more shadow here. And I also want to add some light. A little bit of light on the right side here, but also some reflected light Going to 12% on this left side. And some light on this edge. Let's go smaller, 4%. Just playing around with the size of the brush a bit. Maybe let's go a little bit warmer. I'll just add a color for that pot. All right, now let's move to the cactus itself. Well, we can turn on the sketch as a guide, or we can just do it without. Let's add a new layer on top of that cactus and use clipping mask again. Now let me first go to that dark green color. Of course, we want some shadow at this underside of the cactus, where it's inside the pot. I want to make these lines going up, just like we did the first time with the other cute cactus. We're shaping that cactus now. To 16%. And we can also pick a bit of this dark brown to add some texture here at that underside. Now I'll grab a lighter green and let's go to, well, maybe 17%. To add these lighter touches. Let me go a bit smaller, 10%. There, and we can also pick a little bit of this yellow just for some color variation in our cactus. And we could even add some of that orange. Let's go a bit bigger, 20%. Just for some color variation. I want to darken this side up just a little bit more. All right, that's nice. Now let's add some of those spikes. We'll do that with the yellow color for this one, and we'll make a new layer on top. And I will be using the dry fine liner brush. Let's check. All right, I have it set to 12%. And let's just add some random spikes. First here on top, as if it has some spiky hair. And around these lines, I'll just make kind of like these star shapes. Again, something like this, such a repetitive thing, it's really relaxing. There, that looks cute. Maybe one more here. All right, now let's give this guy a cute little face. Let's pick this dark color right here. It's almost black. And let's just make a layer above this pot layer. And let's use, well, we can use the fine liner brush. And let's swipe with 3 fingers to copy and paste this eye. And add a little mouth. I actually want to have those eyes a bit further apart. Of course, I need to move that mouth as well. So I'll just select it and then use the move tool to place it in the middle. Yeah, he looks cute. Now all we need to add is a drop shadow. So we'll go to our background layer, add a new layer there. Sorry about the dog barking. And let's go back to that, what was it? Texture brush. Yeah, the grungy stone brush. Let me first grab this brown. Let's see, yeah, I have it set to around 21%. And I'm adding some of that orange on this side as well. Well, it's not really orange, orangey, brownie. That's food, but okay. Could be a color. Just gradually adding some shadow with that texture brush. And let's go to that dark brown, that really dark one. Let me make the brush a bit smaller, 14%. Yeah, I like that. Oh, he looks cute. Now let's just place them together, our two cactuses. Let me group, oh, let's merge these, the eyes and the mouth. Let me just group everything. And then we'll have to make our canvas a bit bigger. That's the width, right? Yeah. 7,000. What? I don't get it. If I want to make it bigger, why is it becoming smaller? Oh, it's too large. What? Too large, okay. Maybe 6,000, no. Then we'll just go for 5,000, or maybe we can go for 5,500. Yeah. I just want to see them next to each other. So let me just, well, let's turn on this one. Place that there. I can move this one to the right a little bit. And I can make that background. Oh, no, I don't need uniform. There. Now we have our two cute cactuses. I'm looking forward to seeing your cactuses, and I'm curious to hear which style you prefer. And if you want me to make more cute video tutorials, I sure had fun making these cactuses. I'm wishing you a lovely day. Please stay safe, and I'm looking forward to talking to you here at Patreon. Thanks for watching. Okay, just hold up. I just turned off everything, and then I looked at my cactus from a distance, and I saw that this one is a bit skewed. So I really want to fix that before I even post this. So let me fix that. How am I going to fix that? Let me just, well, I can go and use liquify, or I can make a new line. Maybe I should just make a new line. I'm going to go to the smooth lines and that purple. That's why it is handy to just use a grid, for instance, when you're drawing something like this, to get straight lines. Well, not really straight lines, but at least some smoother lines. I'm sorry if you can hear my daughter yelling, by the way. I think she has a video call and she has a pretty loud voice. All right, let me use the eraser to erase that line. I'm sorry, but it just didn't look good from a distance. So I do need to fix that. Okay, I'll merge these so that these are new line layers. And then I'll have to go back to that one. And it just shows you shouldn't be afraid to fix things like this. Sometimes you get a bit blind for your own work. I have that in any case sometimes. And then when you look at your work from a distance, you see that it looks a bit off. And I also want to add, well, I want to adjust that orange one a bit. I'll just select both layers, go to liquify, and make this side a bit more rounded. Maybe add a little bit more to that shadow. I'm sorry, guys. I think it looks better like this. But of course, your cactuses will look way better than these. I'm looking forward to seeing yours. And again, I'll just say it again, I'm wishing you a wonderful day. See you later, guys.